Hey everybody, Squirrel Dev here, back here again. Today I got some really exciting news for you guys. I am almost finished with this little project here for the scanning stuff. So I should hopefully be back to FreeLiberatorDx2 development really shortly. For now, let me walk through everything here that I got done so far. I have created in this index.js, which is the scanner I was talking about last time. I've got two functions. One is called scan files, and essentially what it does is it takes everything that source code I mentioned earlier, and which I've moved into a directory called test, and it takes all those and creates a .scan file with something that looks like this. And all this is all the lines that were extracted from this over here. So list.isNew equals is new, and it just takes all those lines that look like that and puts it in there. And there's a bunch of filters over here, like if a line starts with this, if it does not include a parenthesis, if it does not include a, actually I do not know what to call this, but symbol, and if does not include this dot space equals. Now the reason I want to exclude these is because there are some lines in the regular non-scanned file that have these and do not contribute at all to the JSON file. But it essentially builds a scan file, and then which I'll get to later in a bit, and it also has a filter file, which essentially takes the scan file and strips out anything that isn't a data type, so like strings, integers, etc., and creates essentially what are, like here, SC accessory effect array, and it'll be like SC accessory effect, and see here, SC accessory effect underscore method, and it'll, so you see that here. And that essentially creates those nested JSONs. So that's what that does, is the filter files essentially just take out anything that's nested JSONs in here just to make it a bit easier for me to sort through them. They will not serve any purpose in code. But back to the scan files. As you can see, this isn't really a JSON, but I've created something scratchpad.txt, which is essentially just a bunch of steps. Open curly bracket, copy and paste everything from scan into a new file, replace each equal sign with the colon, etc., so forth. And by following through each of these, and of course prettifying it a bit, you get essentially what looks like a valid JSON. Now, something you will of course notice is that everything is a string. And of course the final JSONs won't be like this, but this will be what every boilerplate JSON is. And in the code in my server in the future, what we'll essentially do is we'll just replace everything that's the second string with whatever it should be. If it's an array, it'll include square brackets. If it's anything like this, as the extend, it will do curly braces, and so on and so forth. It'll of course replace strings with their related strings, longs with the long integers, so on and so forth. And you may have noticed that here it says disable underscore AR. These will essentially be booleans. So that's also something to keep out for, and I've got to keep an eye out for in the code. But essentially, that's all I've gotten up to so far. I've finally finished this up. It should be uploaded in the GitHub in the next couple of days. And another thing I've included is the start mitm.batch. And what this will do is it will start my mitm web proxy, and with the right files like my redirect.py, which I've included over here. It's just, that same script that allows me to capture all the JSON files. And of course, it dumps this everything, and then it uses T-Shark, which comes with Wireshark. And it'll use T-Shark to effectively create, take all the JSON out. And of course, the bcap in, filter, JSON outs. These won't, of course, be final variables, but they'll be modified for every run. And of course, I'll likely start mitm.bat, and I'll likely separate, this filter stuff for JSON out, and that will allow me to help figure out what is necessary in a JSON file and what is optional. So I can take stuff that isn't required. For example, rand name. Yes, it can be included in this this file, but it's not necessarily required. Or not rand name, rank name. In any event, or I'm sorry, actually a better example would be base data version. That's not necessarily required, but it can be included. But other than that, just a little bit more touching up to do, and then I should be able to push this to the main repo for FreeLiberatorDx2. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to do many updates or what have you. Of course, got real life stuff going on. This is just a side project, really. But I'll be working on this as much as possible. So, without further ado, this is Squirrel Dev signing out.